Welcome to another tutorial video where I'm gonna show you how to create your own LoRa with your own data. It's gonna be easy, private, and free. So let me show you what it is there. Think of it as having a bunch of different data that you have, that different picture that you have, and you want to create that character, that LoRa training, LoRa model that you need to be able to generate the additional video there, right? So with this LoRa you're creating there, you're capturing all the essence of those image into a LoRa there. You can have character specific and character consistency. So how is this possible? Well, thanks to Ostrich there, we have a tool that's very easy to use there. We're going to feed all our data set. If you're not convinced yet, here's some example of different character with LoRa and without LoRa. You can see the difference of details there, or just simply how concise is the character. So to look into a bit more details here, all the video I'm going to be generating moving forward will use the same LoRa that I generated myself, right? So it kind of shows how it's been generated and used there. So what is it like really? Let's look at the LoRa basics, right? So for the LoRa there, we have a highly specific general training, right? You're going to be training a LoRa that is going to be very precise to your character of what you want there. It has dials, right? So you can increase or decrease the weight there to see how much it's influenced by your LoRa. You can have also different trigger words in the LoRa, so you can basically pull out different element of the LoRa there depending on the trigger word. And why is LoRa so cool? Well, it's rapid and easy to create fine-tuning, to create the model basically, because training a whole one model, it's going to take way more VRAM, way more disk usage there, way more time, right? With the training of a LoRa, it goes really rapidly. It's not as great as a full model training, but for a specific character, a specific thing that you want it to be trained on, it's very fitting for that there. So what usage could it be? Well, again, to have that character or a specific outfit of a character, that's perfect for that usage. It can also be used for a artistic style, right? You have a specific art style that you want to apply on your video, that would be great. There's also pose and expression. If you have specific dance pose or specific expression there, it can be used for that. Even scenery or different object concept that it might have a hard time to understand, or a special effect, or even something as simple as the booster of quality of a video, or to make the video generate faster, like fast video. LoRa can be perfect for that. So that's why it's a very key concept, video generation there. So what does the workflow look like? It's the GitHub of the AI Toolkit. This is really where all the magic happens there, to have the tools necessary to be able to create the LoRa's. This is something that I've been using for a while there just to see how it works, and it seems to be working very well, and it's very easy to use. So that's why I'm sharing it with you guys here. So if I scroll down a bit there, you can see the whole team working on this. A few requirements here that we have to go through, but here is the section where I just follow, right? The different commands to enable the installation of this AI toolkit there to enable us to create the LoRa's. So just follow this. If you have any issues that you encounter, do double check the section where there's different people who had their different issues, and go through it to try to find some solution. On my case there, I just did it once and it was working. So it was as simple as that there. And once you have it working and running, do run this command here, right here, to be able to have that UI set up and running. So when it's up and running, and you'll see the bottom here, it's a different use case, different examples there, but we'll go through it together. So once you have it running, it should look something like this, right? With the Ostrich AI Toolkit running there. And this is where we're gonna enable us to create the LoRa's. So first things first, let's look into the dataset, right? So this is where all your data of the different character or different special effect that you want to create, this is where you have to set it up. So let's go into that section here. Now I created one data set there. You could just simply create a new data set and then just add your pictures or whatever you need to add there. In my case, it's just a bunch of character pictures. So if I click on test here, you'll see this is one of my AI character that I generated, and I just added all into this data set. So that my goal here is really to try to see if I can create a LoRa based on these different AI character that I've created, right? So in fact, it's the same character, right? I want to make sure that the LoRa comes out with this character, which enables me to showcase the consistency and the functionality of the LoRa. So the dataset is written here. I put just a caption word for all of them there, woman, just to showcase that, this is all using the same caption. But once you have the dataset created here, that's done. I mean, you're done with the data. So just make sure that you fill it up, and then you go to the training job, right? I mean, right now, let's create one together so that we see how it's done, right? So if you go here, there's a lot of parameter that can be set up for LoRa. And I think that's normal, right? I mean, creating a LoRa, it's kind of like, creating your own model, right? But this is a add-on to the model. So there's a lot of information that has to be filled up. Do you have to fill all this in? No. I mean, you can use pretty much the default. And in my case, I used pretty much default and it was working. I can get a functional LoRa without changing much of any of these parameters. But knowing that creating a LoRa takes a lot of time. I mean, we're talking about hours and hours of training there. I think it's worth it to deep dive into these different parameters to understand what they mean and what makes sense to use and not use. But to start it off, let's go with the simple case, right? We want to create a LoRa for the WAN model, for example, right? So let's choose here. This is the name. So let's choose here the WAN, and you can see there's a bunch of different model you can train there, but let's go with the WAN 2.1 14p, which is a text to video basically, right? The other one is image to video. So let's go with this one, and you'll see there's a preset of different parameter already. One parameter that I set is the low VRam, right? Because again, VRam is always tricky there. Not everybody has a lot of VRAM, so let's put that enable. And there's a bunch of other parameters that we'll go through together, but let's start with this first, and then we'll see about the rest, right? Steps, I mean, this is one you really have to set there, because otherwise it's going to try to train with 3,000 steps. That's going to take hours, right? The great thing about training LoRa here with this tool is you can do it incrementally, right? I mean, you can do 2-step, it lasts a few minutes, and you do another 2-step, and lasts a few more minutes, and then you have a bit of more time, you put 20-step, and so on, right? So you choose the amount of step that you want to train there, and you can run it, right? So in this case, for example, just for the testing purpose there, I'll just put the 2-step, just to train 2-step there to see how that works, right? The rest, I'll leave it all there. I'll just enable the unload text encoder. I'll explain later why I'm doing that. The data set, I only have one, the test data set that I just shared there. So I'll just select that data set. I'll leave all of these all default. On the bottom here, you have enable or rather the sampling. Basically, it's once you have trained something and finished training something, it will try to generate a image or a video to show you what it was able to do, right? So, and you can see here there's a bunch of prompts here of if you generate this and this and this and this, how if using that LoRa would show up here, right? And then you have a bunch of parameter to generate a image or video. So this is all normal parameter. For the sake of this first try there, I'll just disable the sampling so that we can see what does it look with just a basic run there. So that's pretty much it. I mean, the rest is all the prompt there, which I will all ignore because we disabled the sampling. This we left it as is with only the data set being selected that we created, and then the steps here, which I put 2, which is should go pretty fast. And that's it. Let's go and let's create this job, right? The name already exists, true. I already created another one there, so I'll call it V2 tests, let's say, right? Create. There we go. So we have our first job here where we have the LoRa and it's going to do 2-step. Okay, so let's run this and see what it looks like when it runs. So you'll see a bunch of logs that comes up here, and that's normal. And you can use this page, which is really great, to monitor what's happening, right? I mean, your GPU, is it what temperature, fan speed, usage, and so on. There, all this can be checked here while seeing the status of your LoRa being created. So I think that's pretty cool. Let's look at what it's doing there. It's doing all its operation to generate that LoRa. So I'll let it run, and then we'll see the result. Now, keep in mind that even though we only put two-step, there's some overhead, right? So obviously the setup of it so that it works takes time, right? Even though we're only doing two-step here as shown here. So keep that in mind. Even if you're just doing one step, you still have to load everything up and get things ready before you can actually start doing the step, right? But this is where the step is happening there, right? It's going through it there and it's done. Two-step completed, right? It's used a certain amount of GPU, memory here, and so on. It went super fast simply because the step was only two-step there. But let's showcase that the fact that it completed with two-step, we can increment on it, right? I think that's just something cool there. There's no sample because we removed the stable diffusion example there, so there's no sample, right? But at least this was run. So we can see here, if you click on the little crayon icon here, you can go and edit it, right? So you can go here, and what I usually do is I come here and I say, oh, whoa, you know what? I'm gonna go to 4-step, right? So I'm adding another 2-step just to showcase that. In fact, maybe I just put the, let's say 10. Here we go. So go all the way up to 10-step, right? We click update job. And then we can see now it's step 2 out of 10. So the two step is being done already, right? So we can see the progress is 20% done, but it's going to try to do the remaining 80% there. So I'm going to click play here, and you'll see it running again, the same thing, but trying to do the 8 other extra step. And then here you'll see a bit more about the memory usage GPU there, because I'm actually trying to do a bit more step than the first time there. So you'll see more of the information here. So let's leave this running. Like I mentioned, this is the overhead section where it has to load everything, quantize the blocks, and so on there. I mean, this is just normal setup there so that we can start the training of the LoRa. Okay, so we can see that the training started. We're 2 out of 10, and it's going to start doing step 3, 4, 5, all the way to 10, right? And it's going pretty fast. I mean, it's about, it says here, I mean, 5-6 seconds per iteration, right? So every step would take about 5-6 seconds there. So that's why doing 8-step goes pretty fast. But I mean, if the target, which normally we should go into the thousands there to be able to have a good LoRa, you can see how, 5 seconds times 2,000, 3,000, it's going to take quite some time, right? And that is with the speed that I have here. Depending on your GPU, on your setup, it could take more time or less time, right? Depending on the setup that you're using, even just the source material, the configuration that you're setting up within the LoRa setting there, all that will impact how much time it takes for each of the step there. And there you go, step completed. So you can see here it was completed. Let's go back here. Now we have 10 step done, and we can increment it even more, right? Put another 20 step, another 100 step. So it's really up to us to decide there. So that's pretty much the basic of what to set up to have the LoRa being trained, right? But I mean, this will allow us to see the basic there. Let's go a bit deeper, at least look into the sampling, right? We want to see what it looks like, right? So let's go with the woman with the red hair playing chess. Woman, I'll just remove the with red hair because our character has blonde hair. And going on the background. Let's say I use that, and we just remove all the other prompt there. We just want to see that one. Just so that it goes fast, I'm gonna put just 20 step there. I'm just gonna put 1 frame. I mean, I'm not trying to generate a video, even though 1 is for a video, but it's just for the sake of a test there, right? So width 512, height 768, and there you go. Let's go with that just to see what it looks like, and I'll enable the sampling. Okay, so that at least we can see that that being generated. I'm gonna go here with just 1 step here. In fact, I wonder if I leave it with 0 step done, if I can just see the sample there, because I just want to see the sample at this point. Yeah, it doesn't allow me to see it, so let me just add 1 step there, so that at least it generates something and it gives me the result of it there. There we go. We can click play. Again, the overhead is still present, right? I mean, even if we do 1 step, the overhead is still there. So it's going to take a while to load everything, but then the runtime will be extremely fast. So let's see the result. So we can see here, this is where it started generating the image, right? It takes a bit more time because it has to generate that image based on that LoRa. So in fact, in this case, it's taking more time to generate the image out of the LoRa than actually training the LoRa itself, because we just put 1 step. But it's okay. I mean, we can disable that sampling there whenever we want, and only enable it whenever we feel there's enough change, enough training being done there. Okay, it was generated. So 11 step was trained so far, but we can see from the sample, what does it look like? I mean, clearly we're still at the very low step training, right? I mean, the character here doesn't even look anything like the character that I put in the data sampling, and even it's not fully formed, it's not stable yet, but it's a beginning, right? I mean, we're talking about, we should be into the 2000, 3000 step to be able to have a good LoRa. We're at 10 so far, right? Or 11 so far. So we're far from where we should be, right? So let's leave it as is. Let's go back to our overview and let's keep training it, right? I mean, the more you train, the more you have a closer character that you've add as a data set there. So let me show you one where I'm training right now, right? So you can see here, you can go to the training job and you can see the different job that I have here. One of them, I have 1700 steps already in, right? So let me show you that one. I think that's going to be an interesting one because, again, I've been running this for a while and I'll show you the different samples that we have, right? But this, you can see it's exactly the same thing. If I look into the settings, there is exactly the same setting that I should share with the basic case, right? So pretty much the same. The details I'll share with you guys later there. Okay, so going back here, let me share with you what does it look like with the different stepping train. What I did was, at every X amount of step there, I kept a copy of the LoRa so that I can see what it looks like directly in ComfyUI there, not in this tool, but in ComfyUI itself. So I had multiple copy of the LoRa on different training steps there, so we can see what the result looks like. So it's not just an example here, but actually a usage in ComfyUI in the one model there. So let's switch to the other tool. Okay, so I'm loading here a workflow in ComfyUI that I've shared before. It slightly has been modified since last time, since I was developing and creating and experimenting with new things there, but it's pretty much the same thing, right? So the goal of this small basic workflow is just to generate a video coming from a LoRa using the Fusion model there, right? So the Fusion model enables us to have all those elements that enables the control of the generated video. So again, I'm not gonna go through the explanation of this because there's another video that explains the whole thing there. We're just trying to test in this if we're getting what we're expecting to get with that LoRa that we generated, right? So you can see here, I selected my first LoRa there. I've saved it with the different names of the step there, right? 10 step, 20 step, 50, 100, and so on, right? So that we can see the evolution of the generation of that training of LoRa, right? And you can see the problem is really, really basic. I keep it to the a young woman. That's it, right? So I don't want to influence it in any other way that the LoRa is outputting. So I really want to see what the LoRa training is giving us, right? So I think that's the key here. So that being said, I mean, let's go all the way here and let's look at the result, right? So let's try to run this. So there you go. There's the 10-step training based on the LoRa that we have there with this simple prompt as a young woman, right? So it's giving us this result, which is somewhat, you can see some element coming out, but very little, right? I mean, one could say, I don't recognize that character at all, right? So, and that's totally fine, right? Because we're at 10 step. So let's do the exact same thing. I'm not even changing the seed there. I'm keeping everything identical, minus, or rather the only difference is the LoRa I'm going to be changing, right? So I switch it up. So now I'm at 60 step. So from increasing to all the way to 60 training step there. So let's run this and see what are we getting with 60 step training. So there you go. I mean, with 60 step, we can see it's getting a bit closer to what we're creating as a character. In fact, if I load the reference image there, just one image that was used in the training so that we can compare with what we're expecting as a character from the LoRa, right? I mean, we're getting closer. I mean, compared to the first 10 step, I mean, I think it's much closer now, but we're far from where we would like to be, right? So again, let's do the same thing again, but let's step it up there and put a lot of more steps in. Let's go to that LoRa, and I have a version here that has 257 steps. So that's a pretty big increase there. So let's run this and see what we get as a result. Again, I'll leave the reference image there with the generated LoRa here. Oh, sorry, the generated stable diffusion video for one here. Let's fast forward this. So we can see from this result, I mean, we're really getting closer and closer. I mean, her hair is getting more like the character color there, the facial feature, everything is getting closer and closer to what we have been training for, right? So again, let's do another big jump in steps of the training. Now we jump it all the way to 1000 steps. Okay, so this is way more step than before. We started with 10 and now we're at 1000, right? So if the target is 3000 step, we're 1/3 of the way, right? So we're getting really close to there. Let's fast forward again. So here we are at 1000 generation there, right? So you can see how close we are to the final character, right? So 1/3 of the way, right? So let's do it again. I mean, again, we can see the lips, the eyes, the hair. I mean, it's really getting there, right? So let's do it again. Let's do it again with the latest LoRa that I have there, which the highest step that I have trained so far, which in this case is 1700 steps there. So we're halfway there, a bit more than halfway there. So let's run this again. And there you go. You can see how really close we are to the final character. And again, we're at 1700 steps, right? We're a bit more than halfway, and yet we can see how close it is already to the final character. So you can see here how creating the LoRa and training it can give you that consistency of character that you can use throughout your different generation of video there. So that being said, I'm gonna go back to the AI Toolkit there, but I'm gonna be sharing way more detail of each of the parameter, but I'll cover that on another video. That it will be a very detailed video for the more advanced user that really wants to make sure that they set everything correctly in the AI Toolkit there, right? So this here with all the different setting, what does it mean? What to enable, what to choose. That's what we're going to be going through there. But for this video, I'm going to end it here, and I'm going to be sharing some bonus video before we close down this video there. And with that, I hope you had a amazing time learning more about LoRa's, about how to create them yourself there on your own device, and also how different settings there, different configuration can enable you to create a consistent character there in a easy and a simple manner there. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.